Hello.
And welcome to Pooker Films Season 2.
Season 2 is a lot like Season 1 of Pooker Films, except this time we have a budget of 2 tuna sandwiches rather than 1.
Today we're talking about Fantastic Four. Can it work in the somewhat realistic tone the MCU is going for, or will it fail like previous attempts?
Alternatively, will Fan 4 stick 4 work in T4 M4CU?
Let's find out.
I like to think we all know who the Fantastic Four are, right? But for those who don't, they're a fictional superhero team who are also a family of 4. They fight crime as well and deal as issues of real-life family drama and issues. The team consists of Elastigirl, who can stretch her shape into any size, Violet, who can turn herself invisible and make force fields, Mr. Incredible, who's strong, like really strong.
Leland, stop. You're talking about The Incredibles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. The Fantastic Four are a fictional superhero team who are also a family of 4. They fight crime and deal with real-life family issues and drama. They consist of Mr. Fantastic, who can stretch into any shape and size. We have the Invisible Woman, who can turn invisible and make force field. The Thing, who's strong, like really strong. And the Human Torch, who's a human firecracker. Better?
Much better. And if you're wondering why those names sound incredibly campy, that's because they were created in the early 60s. What do you expect? But Fantastic Four has seen 4 separate live-action films made by Fox, and they weren't great.
Unfortunately, Fantastic Four films failed for Fox's fascination for Marvel's first family of 4 felt flimsy, fading far away from fans.
Well done.
But with Disney buying out Fox, that now means that Marvel can officially integrate the Fantastic Four as part of the MCU. Even if that means Disney is becoming an even bigger media conglomerate.
Yay?
But how could the MCU portray the Fantastic Four differently than previous versions?
I'm glad you asked that, Liam, and not because it's in the script. Here are 3 ways to change up Fantastic Four for the MCU. Much like Guardians of the Galaxy, I can see and would prefer Fantastic Four to be their own team, maybe an own team up with the Avengers if there was some sort of time travel hijinks going on.
With this in mind, let me take you back to 1983. A year where Return of the Jedi was just released, Africa by Toto graced our ears, and where the political climate felt just as scary nowadays at the height of the Cold War.
I think by placing Fantastic Four within the past could fit the style and tone that the original comics were going for.
They were created in the 1960s, not the 1980s.
Thanks, Schnoz.
The story could also lend itself to be set in the past, with America and Russia being afraid of causing mutually assured destruction, and with Ronald Reagan having an interesting deterrent.
His idea was to launch a series of satellites into space and shoot down any missiles approaching a country. It was given the codename Strategic Defense Initiative, or as the media called it, Star Wars.
And as you may know, this idea failed.
Hold your tongue there, you fine specimen of a man! What if it didn't fail? What if in the film, Ronald Reagan gets 4 scientists to work on the Star Wars program, and through space radiation, it perhaps gives them powers?
But wouldn't that go against their origins?
Yeah? So what? Other superhero films have changed origin every now and then, and with this being for Fantastic Four film, you've got to do something unique to make it stand out from other films, and I think by changing the setting it could really help that.
With this in mind, perhaps the villain of the movie could be Victor Von Doom, and instead of being the ruler of Latveria, he could be the ruler of a small village in Russia called Latveria.
So Russia hears rumours of USA creating superheroes and, creates their own?
Yeah, well, Doom's abilities come from technology at the time, not his powers. Enough for America to worry about Russia, but not enough for them to go to war with them. Idea number 2. Bit of an out there idea for this one, but could it work? We've seen time travel being used in Avengers Endgame.
Whilst the MCU is somewhat chronological, you get the odd film made years later but set in the past, aka Captain America or Captain Marvel.
So, if we had delved into past events in the MCU with Captain Marvel, Captain America and the first Thor film, then why can't we go the other way around and delve into the future?
Well, not the far future. In fact, with how Endgame left, it could be argued that the MCU timeline is now taking place in the future. But what we mean to say is 10 years in the future after the events of Endgame, say.
What's interesting about this idea is you could have Stretch Armstrong over here reference past events or attacks that have happened in the past, so maybe you can see the attacks happen in an Avengers movie or a solo hero movie perhaps.
Also, being set in the future, you could have more leeway in terms of technology. I'm not saying it will be flying cars, but the difference in years could perhaps lend itself for space travel. Perhaps the idea could lead into the Skrull invasion, and who knows, if this got sequels, the idea of the Fantastic Four... the Future Foundation, as they would be called, being an intergalactic team, that could be quite a contrast to what previous Fantastic Four films we've had accomplished.
While the comic series Future Foundation isn't totally set in the future, the play on words is just too good to resist.
Plus White Susan.
For show.
For show. So, the Fantastic Four would be fighting Galactus, and Silver Surfer could be a possibility?
Would certainly make it stand out from prior films, especially Space Clown. Or just set it in the present day in relation to the MCU timeline.
Yeah, this may sound a bit boring of an idea in relation to the other ideas, but there's ways you could spice things up. You forget, Fantastic Four is playing the MCU sandbox now.
Whilst the main family has always been Sue, Reed, Johnny and Ben, it could be interesting to maybe take one of the team members out and replace them, say Axe Johnny?
In the past, Spider-Man and Ant-Man have both been members of the Fantastic Four. Since Fantastic Four operate in the heart of New York, it could be possible to get an internship as Peter Parker to the Baxter Building, say, to do some science and join a team that way.
What if the Fantastic Four has always been part of the MCU? Not as heroes, but as scientists? What if the Baxter Building were doing tests on spiders and one got out prior to Civil War?
But how would they get their powers, I hear you ask? If Spider-Man was part of the team, they could perhaps reverse engineer Thanos' ship and maybe there is a radiation leak?
Alternatively, the Fantastic Four could get their powers and abilities from the quantum realm. They either ask Scott Lang to be their tour guide to help them with the shrinking tech.
Either way, results are the same. They suffer a severe accident in the quantum realm and it changes their biology. This isn't far off from what we've seen already. The Ghost from Ant-Man 2 has been affected by the quantum realm, allowing her to phase in and out of reality. Except, actually accept the ramifications.
Michael, you need to let it go.
No!
Did it work?
Would the public even care?
To find this out, we took to the streets to find out.
As you can see, the results are inconclusive.
As we all know, Disney is subscribed to Booker Films, so they will listen.
They'd better, otherwise we're coming for you, Uncle Walt.
Or maybe they will do none of what we suggest, because we're just two geeks suggesting what we would do if given the power to create a film, rather than dissect every tiny little detail in MCU canon.
Want to watch favourite Fantastic Four film?
The Incredibles?
No. Incredibles 2.
Adventure.